Welcome to the Business Success Strategy session. Hi, I'm Adrienne McLean, and we're here to speak about business strategies that can help you with your day-to-day business and even perhaps at home as well. AdrienneMcLean.com is focused on helping small businesses to get clients and offers marketing strategies that work. The Speaker's Practice helps professionals with speaking with confidence, important for growth with sales, customer service, presentations, interview skills, and much more. I'm thrilled to have Nicole Davidson with us today. Nicole Davidson works with small and medium-sized businesses to help them tap into their greatest resource, their people. Nicole is passionate about connecting people with what's important to them and helping people focus on the things that matter to them in work and in life. She believes that we can create the conditions to be successful, not just in a few areas of life, but in all areas, and supporting each individual to live life with focus and purpose is the key that will allow them to thrive. Well, hi there, Nicole. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you, Adrienne. Delighted to be here.
Can you tell us, how did you get into this whole area of leadership and motivation, really?
I had been working in international schools around the world for about 15 years, and I had some absolutely amazing experiences. And when I decided to come back to Australia, I was kind of done working for somebody. Yeah. Throughout my time overseas, I'd worked in some amazing organisations, and I came to understand that really we create the conditions for people to be successful. So I came to the conclusion that it was time for me to go and do that on my own terms, really. So that's how I got into where I am today.
Oh, fantastic. Wow. Okay, well, let's get started on the questions, because our topic is, of course, today, how to create a thriving culture both in business and life. So our first question for today is, from your experience, how motivated are staff in the workplace today?
Look, I think staff are... I think they are motivated, but I think there's a great room for improvement. I believe personally that people want to be successful at what they do. And I think that in the very nature of some organisational structures, or the nature of organisational structures in general, sometimes they can be a little bit, they can make us in a way try and fit in a box rather than allow people to work to their natural strengths.
Yeah.
So I do believe that people are motivated, but I also see that the environments in which people are working in aren't always conducive to really inspiring that motivation. And I mean, the statistics bear that out too. The Gallup State of the Global Workplace report in 2013 actually showed that only 24% of workers in Australia are engaged.
Goodness.
I know, 24%, Adrienne,
yeah.
And 60% are not engaged and 16% are disengaged, which means that they are probably actually throwing bombs in your organisation, metaphorically, of course.
Yeah.
But you know, they're not actually serving your organisation at all. And the fact that there are good people in organisations wanting to do a good job suggests to me that there are significant problems, I guess, in organisational cultures that aren't bringing out the best in people, and I think that's a real area for focus. And interestingly enough, the statistics on this aren't moving. They're not getting any better, despite the fact that engagement's such a buzzword. They're not improving they're not improving, and they haven't done for probably the past 10 or 15 years.
Right. Gee. Oh, that's a concern, because, of course, an employer is a significant cost in the workplace.
No, that's right. And the interesting thing is, it's quite often not the I would say, the employer who has the power to change a lot of that. I'd say it's up to the employee, I should say. The employer really has the power to create the conditions for people to be successful. So there's great opportunity there. I just think of how much unfulfilled potential there is in workplaces around this country. And in terms of absenteeism, it's costing businesses billions per year. And you've also got people turning up to work, so they call it presenteeism. So people are at work, but they're not necessarily on task and working to their full potential, which is also costing the business money. You've also got people who are under stress, who are taking stress leave and sick leave, which is costing businesses money. So all of these things really add up to looking at the culture of an organisation and looking at the parts of it that really aren't allowing people to thrive, because I honestly believe that people have the potential to. I believe that people want to. And, you know, in my work in the different organisations I worked with around the world, I just met so many different people from different cultures. The schools that I taught in had on average 50 nationalities. So I've met a lot of people from, you know, different backgrounds, different walks of life. And there are 4 things that I believe, Adrian, and I believe that we want to feel inspired. We want to feel that we matter. We want to feel that what we do matters, and we want to be happy. You know, people don't want to come home from work feeling unfulfilled. So there's a real opportunity out there for us to do something different.
Oh, well, it's a very interesting area to work in, and one that you can give so much.
That's right.
So that goes into our second question, what does a highly motivated workplace look like, and what makes it successful?
Well, Towers Watson, in their global workforce study of 2014, they also gave some statistics on engagement. And what I particularly like about their study is that they identify engagement that you can measure in 3 areas. And they talk about traditional engagement, which is the employee's willingness to expend discretionary effort on the job, so willing to go above and beyond the call of duty, so to speak, and also enablement, about having the tools, resources and support, typically through direct line supervisors, to do their job effectively, and also energy. So that's about having a work environment that actively supports the physical, emotional and interpersonal well-being. And the reason I like that is because they're all 3 very tangible things that you can focus on. And I can honestly say there was an organisation I worked in for 5 years overseas, and those 3 things were all present, and I thrived. And it was an environment in which everyone could thrive.
Wow.
So, it was wonderful.
Yeah, and it would be very inspiring to work in a workplace like that.
You do. It is inspiring, and I think too, for me personally, it allowed me to find my strengths, and it allowed me to find what I could contribute. You know, quite often in organisations, you sort of asked to fit in a box to fit the organisation, whereas what this particular organisation did was very clear about its values. It was very purpose-driven, so it had a very clear vision. And I mean, there were several other things. But just to, you know, give an indication of what some of those things are, you know, having a clear vision that people are inspired by. As I said, we want to feel inspired. Why are we here if we're not going to feel inspired? Nobody wants to. And how long do we spend at work each day, Adrian?
Oh, yes. Yeah,
you know,
60, somewhere between 40 and 60 hours a week minimum, really. Some people work even longer.
That's right. And it's a really good part of our lives. And to go to a workplace and not feel that you're able to give your all, I think, is actually quite tragic. Yeah. And also working towards a common goal with, you know, everyone in the organisation very clear on what the goal of the organisation is, and also people understanding what their part in achieving that goal is. people want to contribute, people want to give.
Yes.
And if you can help people understand how they move things towards the whole and that they feel part of something bigger than themselves, I think that's really, really significant for people.
Yeah. Well, that goes on to our next question, which is, what does it take to have a prosperous business, workplace and life?
Well, I would say if we start with business, I'm going to give you an acronym, and I'm going to explain how that does translate to business, but it can also translate to the different areas of life. And that acronym is thriving, because as I've mentioned before, I truly believe, and I've experienced this myself, that we create the conditions to be successful. So what are those conditions? So if I were to sum them up, the T in thriving stands for trust, and that's about creating a high performance culture based on trust. You cannot create you can't create high performance with low trust, in my opinion. And you know, I've worked in organisations before whereby you're not able to speak freely, you know that people are talking behind your back, etc., etc. And it just doesn't lend itself to people wanting to take risks. It doesn't lend itself to people wanting to put themselves out there. So being a high creating a high trust culture so that it's a safe environment for people to be in, because that's when people grow. It's like little kids don't sit there and, do their best and become who they are when they're sitting there experiencing negativity. Yeah. So I think, yeah. So that's a really big one. And the second one, the H stands for hire. So hire people who are aligned with your vision. You want people who want to come on a journey with you and who want to bring what they have into an organisation so that they can allow you to, realise your vision. You don't want people coming into the organisation who are going to put doorstops and create problems for you. And so that also, I believe, hiring people who have the right attitude. You can teach skills, but you can't really teach attitudes. So I think that's a really big one. Yes. And the R stands for respect. And by that I mean respecting people's talents, hopes and dreams. Yes. It's great to, have great conversations in the workplace and show respect on that point. However, I think it goes deeper than that. It really comes about, engaging people in terms of knowing what they want to achieve, where they want to go, how can you help them get there? Because once people are invested in that, they're not going to want to leave you. So that goes to that retention of staff as well. Yes. And quite often people will move not because of money. People will go somewhere and take less money, but they'll go somewhere where they feel valued. So I think that's a really big one. And the first I stands for include, and that means ensuring that everyone has a place and a role to play. You don't need people who are on the outer. You want to make sure that you're creating an environment in which everyone's strengths and talents are recognised, and again, helping people understand how those strengths and talents actually fit into the whole. And of course we've all got weaknesses, and that's fine, but create teams whereby those weaknesses don't matter.
Yeah, and just building on people's strengths.
That's right. And then also V is for values. So identifying your values as an organisation or as a business and making sure you live those values. There's nothing quite so disappointing, I think, as coming into an organisation who says it stands for this and then just doesn't live it. I know of, CEOs who send out motivational quotes every day, and the people down on the bottom of the food chain just sit there and laugh because they don't mean anything, because they're not lived every day. Yes. So that's another thing, making sure that the values actually permeate the culture and people are living by them. Yeah. And then the next I is for inspire, which is to create an engaging culture and stimulating environment. Like, who wants to go to work every day and just feel like they're just bored? Yeah. And
no one wants to do that.
That's right. And look, there are always going to be parts of our job that we don't necessarily enjoy, But that's okay, and there are going to be challenges that we face. But make that part of the culture whereby you can make up for those things. But you've got people looking at something bigger so that they can actually see the bigger picture, which is why you need to do those things.
Yes. Yes.
And then we have N for notice, which is pay attention to what's going on around you. As a leader in a business, people can come in smiling. What's underneath that smile? Is that smile saying, I'm so glad to be here? Or is that smile saying, I've only got 8 hours to go? So paying attention to what's working, what's not. It allows you then to have conversations as well. I find that quite often the challenging conversations aren't had, and yet on the other side of those challenging conversations is something fantastic. So it might be that a staff member is really, not performing as well as the owner would like or the leader would like, but rather than address that in a way that's respectful of the person, little things go left unsaid, which then creates tension. And had the conversation have been had and people were willing to be honest but respectful, things could have changed and things could have been made much better. So I think it's really important to notice things and to address them as you go along, because every time we bury something, we bury an opportunity,
Yeah.
And the final thing is growth, which is grow yourself, your people and your business or your life. So keep growing. Anyone who thinks that they know it all has stopped living. Okay, so we grow or we die, as Tony Robbins says.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if we're growing, we're thriving. So
that's right. And so when I go through that thriving acronym, all of those things can apply to your relationship. Hiring, you're not going to hire somebody, but choose the right partner. Choose the right partner. Engage with friends who you enjoy, who share your view on life, or if they challenge it in a good way, not bringing you down. So all of those things can really relate to your health. They can relate to your relationship. They can relate to your finances. They can relate to your social. And so really that's how I believe that you can that's how it can be done.
Fantastic. Thriving is a wonderful approach, but how can it be implemented into the workplace?
So I believe that the key to having it all is deciding what it means to you. So that's how I would suggest people start with implementing things in the different areas of their life, is actually deciding, what does a great relationship look like for me? What does having it all mean for me? Is it having a great business along with a great relationship, along with fantastic health and a thriving bank account, right? Yes is the answer. Well, for me anyway, but I also think, it's very personal as well. But if we're thinking about, again, this can apply in business, but this process can also apply in different areas of our lives. And I have another acronym, which is called VISION. And so one thing I'd say, about success and implementing things so that we're successful in the various areas of our life, how devastating to climb the ladder of success only to find out it's been leaning against the wrong wall.
Yes.
How sad.
Yes.
So it's about creating and articulating a strong vision. So creating and articulating a strong vision in your business that you keep repeating, because that's what's going to take people along with you. And there might be, you might be working on your own. You might be your business, but as long as you've got your vision that you can tap into each day and a compelling vision for your future, that's where you can actually overcome the days where you actually think, I don't want to get out of bed this morning. Things might not be going all that great financially, or you might be, overcoming a challenge or whatever. But that vision is what gets you out of bed each day, because you've got something bigger than yourself. So have a compelling vision. And also the second part is image. And that's about reflecting and sort of taking a snapshot of where you're currently at. And you might like to do that in all areas of your business. Because unless you know where you are, it's also very difficult to know where you need to go. So the next we have steps. And so what steps are you going to take? What goals are you going to create so that you can realise your vision? An aeroplane has a flight plan, and quite often it's off course, but it knows exactly where its destination is, and it keeps self-correcting. Without those goals and some reflection as we go along, it's very, very hard to know where we're going and also to correct when we need to. So having those goals. And the next step is ideas. So develop an action plan. What are all the ways you can imagine that you could possibly achieve that goal? Because nothing's cast in stone, so you want to have some flexibility around that. And you want to in a way, I guess, also tap into those intuitive moments that you have and feel your creativity. But know that you need an action plan. If you're sort of sitting here every day stabbing at what feels good, then you're never going to really reach your goal. And then the O is to take ownership, which is to take action. If we don't take action, we don't get anywhere. And the final part is network, which is to engage support. I know in my business, I don't know everything about my business. There are things that I'm strong at, there are things that I'm not so strong at. And so engaging support in the areas you need it, whether it, be a financial person or whether it be a coach or whether it be somebody who's strong in marketing. But engage support because it also allows you to get a fresh perspective on your business. Rather than just trying to go it alone.
Just stabbing, trying to do things and it not maybe working as well as you'd hope. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. That hoping and praying is not really a strategy.
No. And I like your approach with self-correcting. So when you if you're reassessing all the time, then you can see if it's working or not working and then make some adjustments. That's really powerful.
Right. That's right. And I think that's the difference too, Adrian. Quite often we talk about evaluation, but evaluation comes at the end. We can't wait till the end to figure out how we're going. So that's why that reflection component, and it's daily reflection, that's really, really important. Because then you can make the little corrections that are necessary.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, well, our next question is one that I ask all our guests, and that is, what is the strategy that really has helped you grow your business?
A strategy that's helping me grow my business is something that I learnt at Business Mastery with Tony Robbins. Now, something that I know that all business owners struggle with is getting caught up in the day-to-day as opposed to looking at your business longer term. Yeah. And it's challenging. It's really challenging. I don't claim it's easy. No. But what I do is I schedule in a 90-minute appointment with me each week. Mm-hmm. And what I do is go through what Tony Robbins identifies as the 7 forces of business mastery. Now, he believes that there's 7, and I'll listen to him because he knows his stuff. Yes. He knows his stuff. And he says they're the 7 parts of any business that have to be consistently managed to consistently grow and succeed. Yeah. And as I said before, we've all got strengths, we've all got blind spots in our business. So to actually have somebody sit there and say, these are the bits you need to look at, I listen. Yeah. So if I can just go through the 7 really quickly. The first one is actually knowing where you really are and create an effective business map. He believes the biggest challenge for business owners is actually not being honest about where they're really at. And, they say that we overestimate what we can do in 1 year and we underestimate what we can do in 10 years. So I think when we tend to, look at our business, doing so not necessarily through numbers or whatever, we can tend to not necessarily see things as they really are. So he also says we shouldn't see it better than it is, but we also shouldn't see it worse than it is. So making sure that we pay attention to those blind spots and knowing who we need to be as a business in the long term is really, really critical. And the second one is strategic innovation. And what he means by that is finding a way to meet your clients' needs better than anyone else. You know, it's competitive out there.
Yes.
You know, what is it that you offer that is unique to your client, well, unique to you, that you can consistently refine so that you are meeting the needs of your clients better than anyone else. But he also says some companies innovate so often that they put themselves out of business because they're not strategic about it.
Oh, gosh.
So that thing of, you know, having a 90-minute time to think about that every 7 weeks, every 8 weeks is great.
Yes.
And the third force is world-class strategic marketing, and that just basically means having a process that gets a mass number of people want to do business with you.
Yeah.
You know, the ideal client you want to seek you out.
Yeah.
And he refers to it as value-added marketing.
Oh, well, that's where Book Yourself Solid comes in. We can do that one.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really, really important, and how fantastic, you know, that you teach people that. It's great. Yes. And so number 4 is the sales mastery systems. It's great that your marketing strategy is attracting clients, but it really doesn't mean anything unless you produce continued growth in sales. Yeah. And then force 5 is the financial and legal analysis. If you aren't able to understand and analyse the financial condition of your business on an ongoing basis, it's like being a pilot of a plane who doesn't know how to read the gauges. No, that's fine when the weather's fine and it's a clear blue sky, but when the fog comes in and you've got to rely on those gauges, then you're in trouble. Yeah. And there's a great saying, and I remember hearing this at Business Mastery, and it was kind of like this, you know, dagger through my heart, and it's like, what we don't measure, we don't manage. So it's huge. It's huge. Yeah. And it's also quite confronting too, you know. Sometimes you think you're doing better than you are. You sit there and go, oh, okay. But it's great, though, because then once again you have the capacity to do something about it. It puts you in control. Yes. And then, and then we have the 6th force, which is about optimization and maximization of your people and processes. So you're growing your business consistently and not just taking wild risks that don't necessarily pay off. And he talks about the importance of making small incremental changes rather than great big ones.
Yes, and the people are so important in that in those 7 steps.
Definitely. And they are really important, Adrian. And the thing is that you know people, everything's energy, so nothing's static. Yeah. So you know it's about sort of reading people, and communication, I think, is a huge one in recognizing that, because things change, people's circumstances change. So communication, I think, is integral to making sure that that's all okay.
Yeah. And the topic for today is the thriving culture, and if the culture isn't thriving, then one of the 7 steps is problematic. So
that's absolutely true. That is so true. Which then comes into, actually, that's very interesting you say that, because that comes into the 7th force, which is creating raving fan customers and culture. Now, we quite often hear, you know, creating raving fan customers, but you have to create a raving fan base in your organisation first. Yes. You know, you want your people in your business to just be going, oh my goodness, this is just absolutely amazing. And then what experience do you think they're going to translate to the customer?
So it's not one, it's two parts of the 7 mastery steps.
That's right. And I would definitely say culture first. You worry about the interior of your organisation, and you worry about your people, and you get that thriving. And then that, as I said, this organisation that I worked for 5 years, everyone in that, it's very hard to say everyone because there's, you know, but the majority of people were raving fans of the culture, because it set it up that way. So it was really important. And as Richard Branson says, focus on your employees first, your customers second, and your shareholders third, and you'll be right.
Yes.
You know, and I think that's so true. True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Oh, that's fantastic, Nicole. Uh, uh, to finish off, would you like to introduce your business and what you're doing, and a bit about Nicole Davidson? Yeah.
Sure.
Dot com.
So, yeah, sure. So I work with businesses and I also work with individuals. And I go into businesses and I do a free 50-minute keynote on how to have your best year ever and how to beat procrastination. And I run workshops and do one-to-one and group coaching, that's sort of giving people the skills to succeed in business by giving them focus and the skills to do that, but also to succeed in life. Life doesn't come with a manual. So, and I think there's, gone are the days where I think you can separate business and life. I think, they're so intertwined. So it's really about, giving people the skills and the power to navigate those things on their own terms, really. And also excited to announce that I have just published a book, and it's called How to Put the Balance in Your Business, an Owner's Guide to Having It All.
Fantastic. Congratulations.
Yes, thank you. Really excited about that.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, I look forward to seeing a copy.
Yes, we'll have one very soon. I'm launching it next week, so it's great.
Fantastic. Well,
yeah.
Well, thank you, Nicole, for your time. And it's so interesting the way that you've described the importance of culture and the how to build engagement in the workplace and get people really inspired to come to work and give their expertise in the workplace. It's a wonderful thriving is a wonderful acronym, I think.
It's great, isn't it? It's got great energy, doesn't it? I know. And you know what the thing too, Adrian, is there are no losers. No. When you get a thriving workplace happening, nobody loses.
Yes.
So that's what I love about it.
Yes. So it's a wonderful thing to be working towards.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's right. It's a work in progress. Do we ever get there? Probably not. But you can feel the difference.
Yes.
Oh,
well, thank you so much, Nicole, and it's wonderful to have heard your process, and all the best with your book launch.
Oh, thank you very much, Adrian. It was lovely to be here. Thank you so much.
And thank you to our listeners. Bye
thank
for
you.
now.